Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community, Oceania Hoon Dok Hae, together with Reverend Yutaka Yamada. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of May, or the 18th of April, in the 10th year of Hoon Dok. Let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Chariot. Kyumbe. Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가전맨세 5. 천일국 주인, 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주제적 전산세계와 대산적 지산세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 5. Our family, the owner of Hoon Dok, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Daniel Meadows if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Please join me in prayer. Dearest Heavenly Parent, beloved true parents of heaven and earth, thank you so much as we gather here today, centering upon you. We really pray, Heavenly Parent, that we may be able to connect to your heart, connect through your words to your Holy Spirit. And we really pray, Heavenly Parent, that you may guide us and bring us inspiration for this day and this week. And thank you so much for our beloved true mother, who is working so hard and who is every day making condition and really bringing the providence towards the Hoon Dok and completing the work that was begun with the true parents. I really pray, Heavenly Parent, we may be able to support our true mother and our true father in the spirit world, and that we may be able to see in our lifetime the establishment, the substantial establishment of Hoon Dok in the world. So, Heavenly God, thank you so much for this Hoon Dok Hae, and I really pray, Heavenly Parent, that you be with each one of us now. I pray and report in all of our names, and in my name, Daniel and Chizuru Meadows, and the Meadows Blessed Central family. Achu.
Achu. Thank you. And let's give a warm welcome, as always, to Reverend Yutaka as he shares this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, our brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining today's morning Hoon Dok Hae. How about today? Did you have a time well? Did you wake up well? Today is the beautiful morning. Let's put our fresh heart and begin the new day. I received a photo from PNG. I want to share the PNG Papua New Guinea photo. So they are inviting Christian minister always about the PCLC, and also Christian church invited them to their event. That's why I think our brothers and sisters join their Christian church event in PNG, Papua New Guinea, and they are doing activities. So we can see they are really doing missionary, and also our brothers and sisters are really investing to Papua New Guinea activities. So we could see that great things. So really, let's pray for PNG movement and our brothers and sisters. And also yesterday morning, we have a good news. Our Reverend Stone finally had the 5th grandson, right? Reverend Stone and Reiko-san, congratulations, your 5th grandson. You're beautiful. Yes. So congratulations, Reverend Stone, Reiko-san. I didn't put the photo anyway. And next week, we will have a PCLC online fellowship 6, May 24. So this month is the International Day of Family organized by United Nations. So, and also there was Mother's Day, and next month there is Father's Day. That's why someone called this month is the Family Day from Family Month, from Mother's Day until Father's Day. So what kind of heart, what kind of mind do you have to your family? and how much you are appreciating to the families. So this time, our PCLC topic is centering on the family. We could see, when we see the society, there are many kinds of family problems. So this time, the topic is the family crisis, healing and renewal. And Dr. Kittle is our, Dr. Kittle is our main lecturer, main speaker, and also Dr. Kon Kafataris from Australia. Also, he's the Christian leader. He will give also the speech about family. So now, in order to receive the second advent or second advent of the Messiah, God created the Christianity. So already three parents liberated our heavenly parents, and now three parents is on this earth. So how we can guide those Christian leader, minister, and also our congregation. So really, let's invite our Christian brothers and sisters. So during PCLC time, each nation is also preparing the beautiful choir. So let's really put our Johnson in heart and to success this PCLC event next Tuesday. So please check the time. Always summertime or winter time is different. So please follow this time. 2 p.m. Manila time, 3 p.m. Korean time, 4 p.m. Sydney time. So 24th next Tuesday, let's do this PCLC online fellowship. Okay. So today, let's read also Mother's autobiography, Mother's anthology, and also Chonsongyong word. So now through Mother's anthology, we are reading, and Mother is explaining about mission and role for each nations. We finished about Korea, we finished about Japan, and now we are talking about elder nation, about America. So that 2000 time period from Jesus Christ until second advent, this time period was carried on by God, centering on Christianity in order to receive second advent on this earth. So that time God guided, especially centering on Christianity, and also choose several chosen nations in order to lead the responsibility and mission. And among that providence, the Britain could not fulfill their responsibility, and this mission is going into America. So when we see our three parents' life, almost their main life or main lifetime period, they spent in America. So that much three parents invested the nation of elder nation of America. So we could see that even there is God's providence, even God's preparation is there. But if second advent, if the returning Lord the Messiah did not plant his feet there on earth, human beings would have no hope. So how America can contribute for the world, how America can contribute for the heavenly providence, this role is really big. So let's continue to see this word. So Dr. Joshinta, please.
God's hope and the hope of each person is to transform the world into one that is free and peaceful. They want to live happy lives. However, within Satan's system are many mountains, which is why heaven, having the ability to prepare a path allowing all to climb those mountains and reach the high plateau, took the side of democracy, whose adherents believe that God exists. The best example of this is America.
Yes, thank you very much. So the human history is actually the battle between God's side and also Satan's side. So until this moment, after human fall, Satan dominated this world and created the history. So among that providence, God chose America and stand the American side and also democracy side, and to prepare for the second advent. So when we see and how many people can see the battle between God's side and Satan's side. So one of the culture is centering on heavenly parents to live for the sake of others with true love. And another culture is that centering on selfishness and also fighting for own benefit. So when we see the society, actually those battle is going on, centering on really live for the sake of others, live for the world, live for God, or live for myself, my desire, and my wishes. So we could see those battle is still going on this earth. Okay, please read.
True parents blessed America as the eldest son nation. The world has more than 200 countries. They are all in the sibling realm, in a family centering on true parents. America's politicians only want their own nation to prosper. If America continues on this path, it will be isolated. In a family with many siblings, if one of them were to greedily try to keep everything for himself, the other siblings would not like it. They would exclude him. You need to understand this. You have the responsibility of God's right of ownership temporarily in order to cultivate it, so that God can utilize it on a greater scale. Being in that position, you should not think of only yourselves.
Yes, thank you very much. So Mother said, America, true parents blessed America as the elder son nation. So what meaning is this? There are more than 200 nations and all nations are siblings. So among 200 nations, America's position is the eldest son nation, meaning is really the eldest, highest position. So what's the role of eldest son? Eldest son role is to help father take care younger brother and sisters and to help the family. This is the important role as the eldest son. So with those expectations and wishes, God gave the blessing, true parents gave the blessing to America and appointed America as the eldest son nations. So when we see also the American influence, even good way or even bad way, this influence is really big. So how America is moving on this earth or world, this really world receive the influence automatically, and also heavenly providence will receive also influence. So among the family or among the siblings, what kind of brothers and sisters will receive love or will receive respect from another brother and sisters? This is the one who really sacrifice and support and live for sake of others and really attend the parents. So we could see those message for America, but through listening for the message for America, we could think about the nation of Oceania. Our nation is also family nations, brother and sister, or younger brother or younger sister's nation. Even younger brother and younger sister can contribute for the family, can contribute for the world. Who really can live for the sake of others? Who really live for the sake of world? This person become the owner. So true parents have an expectation to the elder son nation. But in the same time, also there is expectation to the children's nations, how our children nation can take initiative. So Father mentioned last time, even the youngest child, if youngest child always sacrifice for the parents, sacrifice for another sibling, even that country, that person is the youngest son, youngest daughter, but that person automatically become the center of the family. What do you think? How about your family? Do you have many siblings and you have parents, right? How much you are sacrificed for your family, or our family is sacrificing for you? So this is very important. How we can really sacrifice for family more than respect, more than expecting them to sacrifice for myself. So Father is really explaining through family relationship. Okay, please read.
Though America received God's blessings for 200 years, what is it like today? True Father carried out his worldwide providence centering on America from 1972. He said, I came to America as a doctor because it is sick. I came to America as a firefighter because it is on fire. America was undergoing a moral breakdown and was thinking only of its own interests and forgetting the true purpose for which heaven had established it. That is why True Father wished to awaken America and establish it again in front of heaven's providence, so that it can fulfill its responsibility in this age when the Messiah of the Second Advent has appeared.
Yes, thank you very much. So among those heaven's plan and heavenly providence, God guided America and to give the blessing during 200 years time, and let's stand America as the central nation of a providence. So when heaven see the America, how about the situation? Is it standing well, the good way, centering on God's providence? So Mother said America was undergoing a moral breakdown and was thinking only of its own interest and forgetting and true purpose for which heaven had established it. That is why True Father wished to awaken America and establish it again in front of heaven's providence, so that it can fulfill its responsibility in this age when the Messiah of the Second Advent has appeared. That's why True Parents know the importance of America. Of course, there are many kinds of challenging inside of America, but Father went directly, True Parents went to America directly to waken up and to stand again and to connect again with our Heavenly Parents and with True Parents. So we could see those True Parents' investment in the history of America or providences of America. Okay, please read.
He thus poured out his love on the elder Sun nation. Fallen human beings, however, are unintelligent. They cannot realize how the history of the providence has unfolded until now, or even whether God is alive or not. And so, for 34 years, True Father tried to enlighten them in various ways through his own actions. America has much to repent for. If it does not repent, it will not be able to save face in the future as a respected nation in the world. History has taught us that when people or nations chosen by heaven fail to fulfill their responsibility, they have to pay severe indemnity.
Yes, thank you very much. When we see the providential, in the providential history, God will choose the central figure by God's responsibility, and God lays up and guide that central figure. But after choosing this central figure or central position person and prepared by God, then after this, each central figure have to realize responsibility and have to fulfill their responsibility by own effort and by own overcoming. That's why when we see the history, we could see the all central figures' life. And also in the national mission role is also same. The role of religion and also eldest son nations, America. So those responsibility is also same. And these things is also same for ourselves. God will guide us. God will choose a central figure. God will raise up the person. But after standing as the central position, and after that, each person's responsibility, people have to fulfill their responsibility, and they have to offer the victory to our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. So Mother said, history has taught us that when people or nation chosen by heaven fail to fulfill their responsibility, they have to pay severe indemnity. So there is very important word, how we can fulfill the responsibility. This is also national level, also same individual level or family level. We met True Parents under the big blessing and under heaven's expectation and hope. Maybe there is some ancestors' contribution or preparation. And when we see ourselves, each person's life is different. But even when we stay in the different circumstances, how we can realize the will of God and wish of God, and how we can fulfill the mission of heavenly parents. So Mada is mentioning America as the elder son nation. So really we should pray for America to stand well and to fulfill heaven's will. And in the same time, our own nation as the children's nation, we also have to pray and find well how we can fulfill our mission of our nations. Then we can connect love. Now heaven's time has arrived. All heavenly fortune is coming together with us. So let's unite together with Yamada and really go forward to fulfill this will and also vision. So Mada is really sharing about those providential history, and really we can learn centering on our life and also our family and for our nation together. So thank you for really Mada's message. This may be tomorrow. So next, I want to share about the Cheonsangyeon word. Now in Cheonsangyeon, we are learning, and Father is sharing about God's investment and the principle of true love. And also, God's creation is not just happening by word or simple way. There is law, there is principle, there is also the order, and we know about the principle to give and take action, and the centering on the principle of love. So Father is sharing really interesting or deep message also. So let's read together. So please read.
When God created the heavens and the earth, he first made all things, and then he created human beings as his object partners. The dynamic of giving and receiving is a basic law, so until you give everything, nothing will return. This is a principle. A husband has to love his wife completely before she will say, I completely love my husband. Only when she has received his complete love will she begin to give back completely. This is a principle of heaven and earth. Thus, only when you receive completely from your subject partner do you reciprocate completely. If you were to reciprocate before you receive completely, what you returned would not be perfect and complete. This is give and receive action based on love. It is a law of the universe based on the principle.
Yes, thank you very much. So this is really important part and very interesting or deep message. So we know that give and take action as the heavens, the principle. If give, and someday this one will be coming back, right? Give and take action. But what Father said the dynamic of giving and receive is based on basic law. So until you give everything, nothing will return. This is a principle. So do you know this one? Well, really, Father clearly mentioned, until you give everything, nothing will return. Wow, Father's message is really clear. So giving and giving and giving without expectation to receive, then we can give totally everything. Give and give and give and forget. If always we are thinking, okay, today I gave this one when my wife returned to me. Today I gave this one when my husband returned to me. If we are thinking always the returning, then surely we cannot give everything, right? Always we are having something inside of mind, how we can give 100%. That's why Father is always mentioning true love is to give and give and give and forget. Sacrifice, sacrifice, and sacrifice and forget. So this is really the principle of true love. So Father is really mentioning clearly. I didn't read this word before, but really mentioning clearly, until you give everything, nothing will return. Wow, this is very clear, right? So Father said also, only when you receive completely from your subject partner do you reciprocate completely. If you were to reciprocate before you received completely, what you return would not be perfect and complete. So when we practice, when we do the action of true love to others, really we have to give completely. Of course, when we receive, maybe also have to receive completely. So God's principle, complete, giving everything, giving complete. That's why true parents is emphasizing to live for the sake of others. This one word we heard many times, living for the sake of others. This is important, living for the sake of others. But this word is actually very deep word. Living for the sake of others, not just 50% or not just 30% or not just the middle way. Living for the sake of others perfectly, completely, or everything. So last time we discussed to invest 100% total investment. So really when we see our God's nature or principle of true love, really our true parents' life is really, we can say 100% complete or everything or total investment. That's why Father said, until you give everything, nothing will return. This is principle. So give completely. So we have to think and we have to really practice. But if we can do this one, surely many blessing is coming. Of course, we cannot expect to receive. So what is the principle? Really give and give and give and forget. This is the principle of true love. This is the way how God created, how God is living even on this even current era. Okay, please read.
We can see that the process of God's creation follows a principle of 3 stages. First, God has an idea. Then he completes that idea in his mind. And finally, he manifests that idea. He formed all things of creation through these 3 stages. Of course, God cannot substantiate his word in his mind alone. For this, he too had to unite his mind and body. That is how he could finally bring about his creation when he spoke, let it be created like this.
Yes, thank you very much. So in the God's creation, there is orders. So you could see this picture, there is a 3 stages. So they are beautiful. So Father said, first, God has an idea, then he completes that idea in his mind, and finally, he manifests that idea. So this is the really process. God had a plan, and God keep this idea inside of his mind, and really manifested that. So when we see the process of creation, we could see those processes. Okay, please read.
God's process of creation began from the concept of creating his counterparts and the motivation to do so. He began with extremely tiny entities. When they were complete, he added a higher motivation and purpose and advanced to larger entities. He continued this process to achieve stages ever more complex, adding new design elements and higher purposes until he came to create human beings.
Yes, thank you very much. So from small existence until bigger existence, there is God's wishes and God's also heart and motivation there. God's ideal and God also 심정, God's motivation and God's purpose. So all things is living for the greater good, the bigger purpose, and finally for human beings, and finally for God. So we could see even small things until bigger things. In every entity or every creation, there is God's ideal, there is God's purpose together with all creations. So when we see even any kind of nature or animal or insect, let's really find what's the purpose of God, what's the ideal of God. Even looks like we don't like this kind of insect, cachalot or many insects, right? But there is God's ideal there. There is God's purpose there. There is God's hope and love is there. So we could see the things. Okay, please read.
Based on the principle, God the Creator substantially developed all things from the beginning of creation, throughout history and until now through a process of growth. He created Adam and Eve to go through the same process. Where did this begin for them? In the same way that tiny cells combine together to form bigger things, a baby is formed through 10 months in the womb to emerge as a male or female child. If this were not the case, we would have no way to explain the logic of the inheritance of life. In other words, the realm of the object partner must correspond to the realm of the subject partner. In divine principle terms, there has to be an external form that corresponds to the internal nature.
Yes, so we could see those the process of God's creation. So external form and also internal nature, those things are coming together. So when we see the creation, we can see the growing process also inside of those things. So this is the final slide. Please read.
The internal nature has the innate capacity to unite and communicate with the external form in every fundamental respect. As a result, the birth and growth process of human beings allows the invisible, incorporeal God to see himself in their substantial forms. Because his every intrinsic aspect is expressed and manifested through them, God cannot help but love them. That is so for each of us. We are God's embodiments, his substance. To transpose invisible substance into visible substance, God has to invest everything.
Yes, thank you very much. So God created universe and God created human beings as God's embodiment. That's why when God created human beings and raised up the Adam and Eve or children from baby until the adult, this process is actually the God's growing process. So God is watching, or God is looking at and seeing his growing period through human beings' development or growing, because each of us, each of you is God's embodiment and his substance. That's why God invested everything. God put the heart. Always God is concerning and loving and staying together. So we are the embodiment of true love, embodiment of God, and really the precious beings. So I will read last part. Father said, we are God's embodiments, his substance, to transport invisible substance into visible substance. God has to invest everything. So because of this, we are here, we are created, and now we can come back to our heavenly parents and true parents. So today we are sharing about Mother's Word, talking about the role of eldest son nation, America, and also the purpose of our each nations. And also, Chansongyeon Word is to live for the sake of others. So there are many situations in the world level, but how we can really utilize and manifest and fulfill or embodiment of truth, we can practice God's word and really can find our heavenly parents' heart and true parents' word. Today, now is the beautiful day and beginning the moment of the new day. Really, God's love and God's heart is always together with us and together with another brothers and sisters, together with another person. So let's find God's heart, God's will, and let's share our love and blessing to our brothers and sisters. So thank you very much for joining this morning, Hoon Dok Hae. It's a good time. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you very much, Reverend Yutaka, for sharing and really enlightening us with Father's words and Mother's words so that we can really have a deeper understanding and a deeper connection. There are a couple of points for me that stood out. One was how important it is to pray for each nation. That statement saying that if the central nation fails their responsibility, they have to pay severe indemnity. And the only way we can combat that situation arising is twofold. One is repenting, and the other is to pray. And it's so easy to, as reading that nations and people, focus on what is close to them, what's their own. But really, we need to have our mind larger so that we really pray for every nation and really repent on their behalf, so that we can really see the change take place. And so that was something that was emphasized to me, the need to really pray for each nation, that they can see what's in front of them, their responsibility, so that the indemnity doesn't have to take place, and growth and development does. And the other thing that stood out today was the principle and law. We have laws of nature, we have laws of heaven, but it occurred to me that that principle is a law. But what's unique about principle, it's completely based on love. When the law is based on love, then it is a principle, and these laws are either just for heaven or just for earth. But then you have those ones that are for both, and give and receive is one of those laws which is based on love, which is the principle, which is absolutely essential in both heaven and earth. And this hence it's an eternal principle. And as Reverend Yutaka pointed out, until you give everything, nothing will return. And therefore that means we are continually giving. And the other thing Father said was, if you try to return before everything's given, then it's incomplete, imperfect, and it doesn't produce what is expected. So in essence, when it comes to the principle of give and receive, it seems like we have to eternally give, and then the receiving is only when it's perfected. So I think the receiving is something we should never worry about. We should always be worrying about how to give 100%. So I was just reflecting on those sort of things. So thank you, everyone, and open up for others. Thank you. Yes, Mary, go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah, when we were reading about America, somehow I was reminded at a leadership conference in Sydney in 2012, and there was a video that was shown, and in that video was President Obama, who was saying that international aid would not be given to nations if they did not accept their policy on the what is it, the
QGG?
Yeah, on that policy. So I was completely shocked. And there was a lady from one of the smaller island nations. She was so upset because they had a Christian culture and was completely against their moral belief. And so they could not accept that.
Stronger.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Reverend Stone, you would probably remember that video at that conference. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Yes, Jacinta, you have your hand up.
I didn't.
Oh yeah, I just thought that I noticed that I really changed in my attitude towards men in general when I found out that my dad really cared about me much more than I thought. and that he really needed me. And that was something that just happened to me quite late in my life, like after he died. And that helped me in my relationship with my husband too. I think I sort of started to realize how great he essentially is, and that I feel like I noticed that men are carrying a trauma as well. You know, they find it very difficult sometimes to express themselves. And when you make a breakthrough with your dad and you realize he loved you all that time and you didn't know. So I feel like now that, you know, I feel like I want to help the traumatized people, especially of my own family, you know. It's like a vertical. It's much easier to, if you feel a vertical love, it makes you stronger. I think that's what it is.
Thank you, Jacinta. Thank you. Yes, Barbara, go ahead.
I just wanted. Whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry. I just wonder whether we're a brother nation or a sister nation, Australia. You know how America's the eldest son and da-da-da-da. So we're somewhere down the track, but are we a girl or a boy?
Well, Oceania has a
definitely a boy.
We're definitely a boy, you reckon?
Definitely.
Well, I think we're both,
Really?
depending on our aspect, yeah, because Oceania in general is a feminine area, and so from one perspective, on a world level, we're feminine, but in our own Oceania region, then Australia stands as the father nation, so it's male. So I think it's the relationship it has with different nations that we take on different aspect. So I don't think it's just solely one thing. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, just on that same line. Yeah, well, Australia's a big, dusty, barren continent with a rock in the middle, symbolizing a man. New Zealand is a beautiful, forest-covered place that you all need to come to understand what I'm talking about. The island nations are beautiful, developing nations, gems out there, and they're kind of like children in a way. So we really have an amazing configuration in the Pacific, in our region, to utilize. New Zealand has always taken in island nations. So I have the greatest population of island people in New Zealand, like a mother nation. Australia didn't take island people for a very long time. They were hard to get in there because for whatever reason. So yeah, so I've really, that sort of helped me anyway to, I believe, to understand our region in that matter, to give a vision can help us, yeah, to work together in a certain way. But anyway, we all have elements of masculinity and femininity, even in Australia. I found the women in Australia are quite tough. Anyway, yeah, just a few reflections on that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rai, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. And congratulations to Greg. Yeah, so fifth one. So when Conmian's wife came to Melbourne, attended the workshop, at the time of the then we really incredible surprise her very strong spirit and incredible special answer time, she was reading that, for time, and her voice and her incredible spirit inspire all. And I think kind of international family, and it's a Korean and Aussie. And so your children is how is your developing language? It's English or Korean at your home? Just asking question to Greg. Lego-san.
Yeah, the girls, the two girls that are here, they speak Korean as their primary language because they talk to mum. Also, Kwon Myong, he also speaks Korean, so they're making an effort to get the girls to just speak Korean. But when they talk to us, they learn English. But, sometimes they have to translate what we say into Korean. They'll learn English very quickly, but yeah. But just yesterday, talk about Hyryong being tough. Yesterday morning, so I woke up around 4. I went out and Hyryong was there sitting on the couch, and she said, "Oh, hi, Father. I think I'm going to have the baby today because I'm having contractions." Anyway, a big smile on her face, and then I, we just went about preparing and everything, and then I said, "How often have you got your contractions?" She said, "Oh, every 4 minutes." And she just sort of calmly, and then she just got like this. She's having these contractions, but and then about 8:30 in the morning yesterday, they decided to go to the hospital, and within 1 hour she had the baby. And I'm thinking, wow, she's become so good at having babies. I can't believe it. It's just incredible. We're smiling all the time. No whimper or anything. Just anyway, she did really, really well. Thank you, everyone, for your prayers, and thank you for your congratulations and so forth. It's nothing to do with me really much. It's more to do with my daughter-in-law and son. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eve Murray. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Today in history, actually yesterday, Father signed on May 17, 40 years ago, 1982, Father signed the first Washington Times newspaper. So there's been a long-term investment, as we can see, and very praised by a lot of high-level VIPs recently, meeting with True Mother. And but then another 40 years ago, today, May 18, 1982, that's when the jury returned its verdict against True Father, and Father has to go to jail. So it's interesting how at a similar time when Father creates the Washington Times, the US court, whichever US court, condemned Father. So it's very sad for the history of the United States and the world, and all the indemnity and wars and conflicts we've been going through. Just wonder how much all that is linked to Father's imprisonment. Okay, anyway, sharing this point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eve. Yes, Janine, go ahead.
I just wanted to say a little bit about give and take. Some thoughts that sometimes it's actually more difficult to receive. Sometimes giving is easier, and people have difficulty to receive. So that's just as important. And I remember years ago, someone gave me some words of wisdom, and they said you have to work towards the point where giving and receiving are one, so that when you give, you also receive. And when you receive, you're also giving. So that, there's not like a distinction, but they become one. Yeah. Anyway, just thoughts, some thoughts.
Good. Thank you, Janine. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Actually, we're sort of at that time. I'll just share the screen and we can pray together. Okay, thank you. Let's pray together. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.